Welcome to Dark Principles Professional Tutorial 1, Installation and Upgrades. In this tutorial we will cover downloading and installing DarkBASIC Professional, downloading and installing the latest upgrades, setting DarkBASIC Professional up for Windows Vista, and finally activating DarkBASIC Professional online. To complete this tutorial you will need an internet connection, your game creator's activation email, at least 400 megabytes of free hard disk space, the latest DirectX 9.0c installed. Please note, for Windows Vista users, DirectX 10 is not compatible with DarkBASIC Professional. You will need to install DirectX 9.0c for DarkBASIC Professional to work. Updates for DirectX 9.0c are released roughly every 2 months. If you get an error message claiming that DirectX 9.0c isn't installed, this may simply mean you need to upgrade to the latest version. Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the Game Creator's website. In this tutorial I will show you how to download and install the software as well as patches. The first thing you need to do, if you haven't done it already, is to create a user profile on the Game Creator's website. Please note the user profile has to match the same email address you used to purchase a product. If it doesn't, it won't show up in your order history. So now we've got that out of the way. I shall now click on Login, which is located at the top there, and you will be taken to a login page. So you type in your details, then click on the Login button. Once you've typed in your details and clicked on the login button, you then are taken to your profile page. So we should now click on Order History. And one thing it's worth mentioning now is if you ever lose your activation key or you want your activation keys, then they are available through this link here. All you have to do is click there, and any products that actually come with the Game Creator's activation keys will be displayed there. So now we're here, we need to actually locate DarkBASIC Professional. There we go. Now the first thing you'll notice is that there's two versions. You have the 11 megabyte version and you have the 90 megabyte version. The 90 megabyte version comes with additional source code and examples, so I recommend you download this one. The other thing you'll notice is you got download hands-on volume 1 and 2. Don't be confused, these aren't the full books. They're 5 sample chapters of the full books, but I still recommend downloading and reading them. There's a lot of initial information that's worth going through, and of course if you like it enough then you can go and buy the full books in question. Each one is about 750 pages long. So now we're going to download by clicking on the download link. Remember, don't click on DarkBASIC Professional itself. That will take you to a copy of your invoice. You do need to click on the download link, and we shall save it to my downloads folder on Windows Vista, and I'll pause it there so you don't have to go through the entire download with me. Okay, now the software has been downloaded to my hard drive successfully. Now, rather than installing it, we need to go and get the other updates we need. So, go to the top menu and then go to DarkBASIC Professional. Once you're there, go to the Downloads menu option on the left, then click on the Upgrades button. And then we need to start off by downloading the DarkBASIC Professional update itself. You can get away with just installing this and not worrying about the IDE update, which I'll go through in a bit regardless. So we've clicked on there. Now you're taken to the update screen. Just click on download the update. It arrives in a standard zip file, so there'll be no issue there. Download the file. And Save it. Save it to the folder. And there we go. So now our patch has been, or rather the upgrade has been downloaded. We need to get the IDE update. So once again, we return to DarkBASIC Professional. We go to the Downloads menu and Upgrades. And we scroll down the screen and you'll see DarkBASIC Professional Editor Update. So you click on Available here. Now, you see the red warning message. You must install 1.0.9 before you install the 9.2 update. The 1.0.9 is actually hidden down the screen a bit, so don't be fooled. Save this one first. Once again, we're shoving it into our Downloads folder. And now we need to download the other update as well. So once again, top menu, then Downloads. Click on Upgrades. And scroll down. Click on the DarkBASIC Professional Upgrade. So now we're downloading the 9.2 update. It's worth noting that there is an alternative IDE that you can download as well, called CodeSarge. Download the file. If you have a look at the Downloads menu again, if you want a more up-to-date editor, then you can again go to Downloads and actually go to the CodeSurge link, or you can do it through the Updates page. So CodeSurge, the alternative DarkBASIC Professional editor. It's a free open source upgrade, I believe. Though it may not be open source. But for the purposes of these tutorials, we're going to stick with the default IDE. So now we have our files downloaded, it's time to install them. Now that we have our downloads in our download folder, we need to start by installing DarkBASIC Professional. And to do this in Windows Vista, all you need to do is double click on the archive. If you have something like WinZip or WinRAR installed on either XP or Vista, it may have replaced a feature, in which case you'll have to extract the file or run it from within the program. So we're going to double click on this now. Don't panic if it looks like nothing's happening. It is extracting the file in the background. There you go, now the file's running quite happily. Windows Vista will come up with a security alert. Click on Allow and you'll have no problems. Unfortunately, this video capture software doesn't capture it because it's in a restricted mode. So now that the install program is running, we'll click on Next. Read through the license agreement, and if you agree with it, click on Yes. Then we want the default location for the software, so we don't want to change that. It's a good idea to choose the default location to install the software to, because if you ever need technical support or you need to locate a file quickly, everyone knows where it is. So as I say, it's a good idea to install it in the default location, and that way if you download anything off the net and or a plugin or whatever, because there are a lot of third-party plugins in the forums, and it gives you a specific directory to copy it to, then obviously you got the default directory, so it's not going to be an issue. So this is now almost copied over. So as you can see by the file names, it's copying a lot of media and demo programs, so you can actually have a look over the source code. Says file association is complete, so we're going to click on OK, then click on Finish. And DarkBASIC Professional is now installed, but the version you have installed is 4.5, so it's worth noting the version you just downloaded is not the latest version. They provide 4.5 for any users who have written code a while ago and don't want to update it to the new language standards. So this basically provides legacy support for any previous source code products that may have been running. So we'll now go back and we need to install the upgrade. Now we're going to do something a bit different here. We're actually going to extract the upgrade. So I'm going to extract it to here. I won't make you sit through it, I'll just pause the video there. So if you're doing this in real time, pause the video and wait for the file to be extracted. Okay, now the file is extracted. We're basically left with a DB Pro update. Now it's important to run this in administrator mode. The reason is because Windows Vista protects the program files directory or folder. If any program attempts to write to that folder and it's not running it in administrator mode, the files are stored in another temporary file in another location and treated as virtual files. With DarkBASIC Professional, it doesn't take very kindly to this, especially when you're installing an update, because obviously the update needs to be overlaid onto the original files in the program. So while the 7.0 update will actually do this automatically normally, I found it a good precaution to always run these updates in administrator mode, and it saves problems down the line. So we're going to do that now. So again, I just clicked on Allow for the security window. We click on Next. The installer will actually locate the default location of the software. It should actually take the correct location from the registry file. So we'll click on Install now, so we don't have to update that, and the files will start copying. And once again, I can't emphasize this enough, by running in administrator mode, you're ensuring that all these files being displayed here are definitely being copied into the program files directory. If we didn't run it as administrator, then these files may not end up in the location they're supposed to. This doesn't happen on everyone's machine, but I do get questions about this every so often. So now that the update's installed, we click on Finish, and to be honest, that's all you need to do for DarkBASIC Professional. You don't need to install the IDE upgrades, but the upgrades do provide a few stability fixes, so it is worth installing them if you want to. But again, they're optional, you don't actually have to do it. So to start off with, we're going to run the 1.0.9 update first, because that's what it said to in the instructions. So again, I'm going to right click on this, and though it's gone off screen, I'm clicking on Run as Administrator, and I've selected the usual security question, Allow. Okay, now we click on Next and Next again. Now this install to location is wrong. It doesn't set it to the correct install location, it doesn't pull anything from registry, and it's using an out-of-date location to install to. So we're going to click on Browse, and as you can see, it's got DarkBASIC software. It's not, it's actually located under the game creators. So we're going to go to Program Files, then the game creators, and we need to go to DarkBASIC Professional Online. Now you may think that's the correct location to install it to. Again, it's not. You have to double click on Editor, otherwise the files will not be placed correctly. So we click on OK now, then next, next again, and this will then install the files. So we've finished that program there, and now we need to install the 1.0.9.2 upgrade, or the B zip file, which is located here. Now we're going to go into the zip file, and the first thing you'll notice is that there isn't actually an installer file. There is an installation txt, but what that basically says is copy the editor file over the editor exe in the program files, sorry, in the editor directory under DarkBASIC Professional. So I'm now going to open up another Explorer window, and I'm going to go into the Game Creators directory, double click on DarkBASIC Professional, double click on Editor again, and as you can see there is an editor file there, so we basically need to copy this editor over here. So yes, copy and replace, and of course it needs administrator permissions to continue, because once again it's writing to the program files folder. So that's now been accepted and it's now copying over, and now we've just manually fixed the editor. So now we've updated it to the full version, we can get rid of these windows and I can close my website browser. Right, now before we run Windows Vista before we run DarkBASIC Professional on Windows Vista, we need to set up the software so it will actually run correctly. Once again, we need to set it to run in administrator mode, because obviously DarkBASIC Professional will be writing exe files to the program files folder. So we do this by selecting the DarkBASIC Pro Online icon with the left hand mouse button and then clicking on Properties. Next we will click on the Compatibility tab, and as you can see I've already done this. I've put a tick in Run the program as an administrator, and just to be safe I've also put Run the program in compatibility mode for Windows XP. So now that's done, we click on OK and we can actually run our software. Now before I go on to actually activating the software, there's something you should know. If your window looks like this, it doesn't have the borders that you associate with Windows Vista, then basically the 1.0.9 patch doesn't work on your system. This does happen on a few Windows Vista machines, mine is one of them. So if your window looks like that, uninstall everything again, and when you update your IDE, either don't update your IDE, use the Code Surge IDE. So we'll close this now and I'll just reinstall it all. Just to be safe, I've returned the IDE to its normal default installation. So now we have the DarkBASIC Professional Activation Service window up, and what we need to do now is click on the Enter Order key button, and we need to type in the email address followed by your order key. I recommend that you copy and paste your order key into this field. It's an awful lot to type out and the code is case sensitive, so you'll understand once you see the activation code. It's rather long, so I'll just quickly type in my details. And paste in my activation key. And next you click on, well, next, and it will say may take several minutes. If you encounter problems at this stage, then it's most likely down to your firewall or internet connection. So as long as you've got a clear internet connection from the program into the TGC server, then there's no issue. But if your firewall is blocking it, then you either need to set up permissions so the software can communicate through your firewall, or you can disable your firewall temporarily. and activate the product that way. But once it's done, you've basically got a fully activated and working copy of DarkBASIC Professional.